Good morning, everyone. I am Subhasree Chakraborty of MA Second Year, Department of Political Science, Vasanta College for Women. Today, I will be presenting my topic Critically Examine the Role of Pressure Groups in India since the 1950s. This topic is important because pressure groups in today's scenario play a vital role in democratic politics, especially in a country like India. In this presentation, I will be covering the topics such as meaning, evaluation, growth, nature, and role of pressure groups in Indian democracy since the 1950s. Introduction. Pressure groups are organized groups that aim to influence governmental policies without directly contesting elections or without holding political power. Unlike political parties, they do not aim to capture political power, but they tend to shape decisions. In India, they mirror various societal diverse groups such as the caste groups, class, religion, region. Since the 1950s, their nature has changed due to various economic reforms, political competition, and rise of civil society. As Rajni Kothari points out that these groups largely function within a party-dominated system, especially in the early decades. However, over the time, their role has expanded significantly. Features of pressure groups in India. Pressure groups in India have some distinctive features. They do not directly exercise power but influence decision making indirectly. They also operate through various methods such as lobbying, protest, campaigns, and are often linked to various political parties such as trade union parties, agrarian parties. Unlike the Western countries, they are less institutionalized and are often linked with different political parties. They are also based on caste, religion, class identity such as Maratha unions, Jat unions, etc. Nature and evolution of pressure groups in India 1950s to 1960s. We shall now talk about the evolution of pressure groups, particularly in the time period of 1950s to 1960s. In the early phase after independence, the Congress system dominated the Indian politics, which is also known as the Congress system as marked by Rajni Kothari. In this phase, the pressure groups had very limited autonomy and were dependent on the political parties. For example, trade unions like OTAK were linked to the communist parties. These communist parties mobilized various mass agitation and movements. The movements like the 1966 cow protection agitation showed early identity based mobilization. There were also food movements such as the agrarian protest. Rajni Kothari therefore argues that pressure groups in India lacked independent institutional strength during this period. Expansion phase of 1970s to 1990s. This phase brought a significant development in the role of pressure groups, as from the 1970s onwards, pressure groups became more autonomous because in this phase, new social movements emerged which focus on various contemporary issues like environment, gender, human rights. For example, the Chipko movement highlighted environmental protection, where people, especially women, stood up against environmental degradation by hugging the trees. The women movement also came to light, which fought against dowry and violence against women. This phase also saw the rise of caste based mobilization, especially after the Mandal Commission where the OBC groups demanded for reservation. Thus, pressure groups became more important in shaping public opinion in the 1970s to 1990s period. Liberalization era from 1990s to the present. After the 1991 economic reform, pressure groups politics changed significantly as it brought drastic transformation in the role of pressure groups. Business groups like FICCI and SOCHM gained so much influence they started molding economic decisions of the government. The NGOs and civil society organizations started using public interest litigation to influence governance. A major example is the 2020 to 21 farmers' protest, which led to the repeal of farm laws by the government. This shows the continued relevance of pressure groups in modern Indian politics. Now let us move on to understand the types of pressure groups which work in India. There are different types of pressure groups in India, such as the business groups like FICCI influence economic policy, trade unions like OTAK represent workers, agrarian groups like Bharatiya Kisan Union represent farmers, caste-based groups demand reservations, NGOs like Common Cause work through legal activism. Methods used by the pressure groups. Pressure groups use various methods to influence policy decisions in Indian politics, which includes lobbying, more informal in India, protest, strikes, and demonstrations. In India, burns are a unique method of mass mobilization, which is also very common. They also use media campaigns and public interest litigation to influence decisions. However, in today's scenario, social media has become a much used platform which used by the pressure groups to mobilize public opinion. Role of pressure groups in Indian democracy. In democratic politics, pressure groups play a very vital role as they help in interest articulation and aggregation, as explained by Almond. They also contribute to policy making by providing expert knowledge and promote political awareness and participation among the masses by acting as a medium between the government and the masses. They also act as watchdogs of the democracy as they ensure accountability and transparency of the working of the government. They also bring new issues and the grassroots level issues into political debates such as environmental protection and gender justice. Critical analysis. We shall now look into some of the positive and negative impacts of pressure groups. Pressure groups deepen the roots of Indian democracy by increasing political participation beyond election. They also provide technical expertise, especially business and professional groups, also contribute to social reforms such as environmental protection and issue transparency like the RTI. Limitations. However, pressure groups have also serious drawbacks as business groups often dominate policy making due to their financial power and the marginal groups lag behind. Lobbying also lack transparency, leading to corruption risks. Lobbying also lacked transparency due to the corruption risks. Extra constitutional methods such as strikes, burns, and violent protests disrupt governance and public order. Indian pressure groups rely more on direct action rather than on institutional lobbying. Pressure groups in India are also hampered by caste and religious based politics. And one of the serious drawbacks of pressure groups in India is that they are less structured and often dependent on political parties. Conclusion. Since the 1950s, pressure groups in India have evolved from party dependent actors to influential agents of democratic participation. They have played a significant role in shaping policies, mobilizing citizens, and strengthening pluralism. However, their function is marked by structural inequalities, lack of regulation, and reliance on extra constitutional methods. For Indian democracy to benefit fully, there is a need to institutionalize lobbying mechanisms, ensure transparency and accountability, strengthen marginal groups. In essence, pressure groups are indispensable yet ambivalent actors. They both enrich and challenge the democratic process in India. Thank you.